Hey, this is Jimmy, the host of the Internet Explorers podcast, your late-night internet spirit animal in human form. And I'm inviting you to come check out my show where we venture into the wildest corners of the internet to study strange happenings, media hoaxes, and weird science. You know, the fun stuff.
2, 3, 4, Internet Explorers podcast!
Shooting wherever reality is optional.
Plug in, tune out, and get lost.
Content warning for profanity and childhood emotional trauma. Hi, this is Coffee McCann, and welcome to Discount Storytime Season 2, Episode 10, Tour de Waxmine. Enjoy! Previously, Scent held up what appeared to be nothing and said,
I have my father's Invisicard.
Gappy and Kermit gave out a whoa. That card is so exclusive you can't even see it or feel it. She ran a roller over the card and signed the receipt.
Congratulations on passing your platinum licensure exam, Doctor.
Scent smiled, said
Bye, suckers.
to the group, and swaggered out. She poured chalk pieces into a bucket and set it next to the board and some old erasers on the lip at the bottom of the board. Scent nodded.
It just needs a slot for coins. Maybe the board can be operated where you have to pay or else it covers up. Oh, or the chalk gets washed off. Oh.
We last left our hero, Wendell, with Dr. Marcus getting him up to speed on intergalactic medicine. And studious Wendell wound up spending a whole month under the tutelage of Dr. Marcus. He impressed all by coming nearly close to his co-resident's knowledge in such a short time. Well, impressed all save for one Dr. Philip Mentor, who was also Wendell's neighbor. As Wendell studied in his bedroom every evening and late into the night, 7 days a week, he couldn't help but notice that Dr. Mentor spent quite a bit of time in his kitchen every night. Essentially, the evening was spent cooking, and he always set two places for dinner, but ate by himself. Wendell's co-residents had been nose to the grindstone for the past month, as is the nature of medical residency anywhere in the galaxy. Their chief resident, Dr. Lucy Loggins, noticed her little Dr. Ducklings were getting frayed at the edges. It was time for a little break, so she scheduled them all for a Saturday off and kindly suggested, ordered, that they take a day off together and go do something fun. Maybe explore the city or take a tour on the famous Waxmine's Museum and Tunnel. What? You're not familiar with the famous wax mines of Waxmine City? Why, they're famous. Waxmine City was built a long time ago when prospectors, looking for better ways to make scented candles, came across rich veins of scented candle wax. From amber to zinnia, these mines have every candle fragrance one could want. And Waxmine City became a boom town. Then they discovered ways to mine without dynamite, and the booming settled down. If you visit Waxmine City, be sure to bring empty luggage, because you will not find a finer and vast collection of scented candles in the galaxy to smuggle back home. Not a dry eye leaves the city. That's mostly because of fragrance allergies. And so the four residents, Wendell, Kermit, Gappy, and Scent, agreed to 1. Sleep in, 2. Meet at lunch at Barley's Cafe, and 3. Go on the famous Waxmine Tunnel Tour. The crew met at Barley's, a popular local cafe. The owner, Barley, had been around since anyone could remember and was a bit of a local celebrity. He was especially known for his charity work throughout the city. The cool spring weather had heated up into summer, and Wendell wore shorts and a knit shirt. He arrived first and grabbed a table for 4 as the cafe was filling up. As the others came in, Wendell realized this was the first time he had seen them in regular clothes. Kermit, the frogling, who was about as tall and lean as Wendell, arrived next in shorts and a t-shirt. Gappy arrived in jeans, a floral blouse, and dangly earrings. Finally, Scent, the energetic meerkat folk, arrived wearing a suit and tie. Gappy's head tilted and she asked,
Why are you wearing a suit?
I always wear suits. Always. I guess I always have. That's how Mother and Father always had me dressed. Winners dress the part.
Even if you're...
Always. Winners dress the part,
he said, raising his shoulders.
Okay. You look very nice.
They looked over the menu, and several new summer season's freshest items were added. Kermit ordered the catch of the day. Scent ordered the GLT with chips, GLT being grubs, lettuce, and tomato. Gappy ordered the grilled kebab. And if you've never had grilled, well, the name says it all now, doesn't it? Wendell, with his long work and study days, had let his dietary habits slip and was eating quite a bit of comfort food. And he felt sluggish, and his pants were tighter, so he chose the fresh garden salad. The waitstaff gave him an odd look, asked if he was sure, then left while glancing at Kermit. After ordering, Kermit also shot Wendell a dark look, then looked around for a new table to sit at. Gappy and Scent shook their heads slowly.
What happened?
It's okay. I'll sit somewhere else, I guess. Kermit got up and looked for another seat. Gappy leaned over and said,
That was rude, Wendell.
Shocked, Wendell asked,
What did I do?
Scent chimed in.
It's what you didn't do, which was read the menu. Fresh gardens?
Wendell raised up his hands, palms up, still confused.
Froglings are incredibly sensitive to gardens. Even a small exposure to one can cause them to faint.
Gappy pointed to a leftover menu on the table. Her dark blue finger pointed at a warning. Quote, This dish poses a health risk to froglings, so don't be an asshole and order it if there is a frogling in your group.
Oh no! I can cancel the order. I'll do that right.
And with that, their lunch orders arrived. The cafe had become even more crowded, and Kermit was having a tough time finding a seat. Wendell stared down at his garden salad, which stared back up at him. Gardens are a Plaxnanian dish, and the word garden in Plaxnanian stands for pus-filled eyeball. Wendell yelped. The owner, Barley, happened by. He was an older man who had clearly enjoyed eating his entire life. He almost looked human, with the exception of the long trunk hanging off his face and floppy elephant ears lined with earrings.
Is everything okay?
No, I mean, not like that. I think I ordered the wrong dish. I didn't realize what garden salad is, and my friend, well, that over there, well...
Oh, understood, sir. I can take this back to the kitchen for you at once, and no charge for it. Mistakes happen, I say. Say, where are you from?
My apartment.
Oh, no, sir. Where are you from?
Oh, Oh, Earth. I'm from Earth, the United States.
Excellent. United States of Earth, you say? Well, if you prefer, I can make a cheeseburger and fries. It's off the menu, but I won't tell if you won't,
Barley said with a kind smile.
Yes, please, thank you.
With that all sorted, Kermit was back at the table. Wendell apologized profusely, and Kermit graciously accepted while eating his, quote, catch of the day, which was literally a bowl full of flies he had to flick his tongue out and catch. Wendell tried to pay for the garden salad. After all, it wasn't the cafe's fault he had ordered it. But Barley wouldn't take it, instead saying,
"If you would please, use that money as a donation to help someone in need. Thank you, sir."
And now, fueled up, the group headed towards the Waxmines. Few people in Waxmine City owned cars. The streets were narrow, riddled with potholes, and frankly, the city itself was not all that big. Most everything was a short walk away, but Waxmine Museum and Tunnel Tour was out at the far edges, and Cent offered to give them a ride in his new luxury car. He smiled proudly.
Wait until you see the ride. She's brand new.
Cent proudly pulled up to pick up the others in his brand new, exclusive, luxury AMC Gremlin. It was purple, or as the factory called it, wild plum. It looked like the designers made the front half of a car, then called it a day. Cent sat in the modified front seat, which looked like a Fisher-Price toddler seat, but with a steering wheel, gear shift, and pedals meerkat-sized. Now, wearing aviator sunglasses and driving gloves, Cent beamed with pride.
She's fresh off the factory floor. The only AMC Gremlin in Waxmine City. Maybe the only one on the whole planet. Do they have these on Earth, Wendell?
As Wendell tried folding himself up to fit in the back seat.
Gosh, no, I don't think so. I've never heard of them.
Kermit also contorted his tall, lanky frame to fit into the car, and Gappy simply climbed in.
This baby is huge, don't you think?
Asked the tiny meerkat as they drove off. With squished knees, Kermit said, "Uh-huh. But I don't think Fa would have fit. He does send his apologies he couldn't make it. Office emergency is going into overtime." Gappy leaned forward from the back seat she shared with Wendell.
Oh, that's a shame. I was looking forward to meeting him. How did you two meet?
We were both in the military academy's boxing club. Wendell smiled.
So you could say you hit on him.
Kermit turned back to face Wendell. Are you saying I hit my husband? What is wrong with you?
No, I meant, but in boxing.
We went from sparring partners to life partners. Everyone in the car laughed.
Like boxing to hit.
Gappy patted his knee.
Let it go.
Then turned to Kermit.
Who proposed, if I can ask?
We both did. We were at the park where we had our first date. It was the summer, and I had a cone of fly scream. We walked to the bench where we had our first kiss. He said he had something to tell me. I said the same. So we closed our eyes, counted to 3.
And got sucked into a f***ing spaceship?
Wendell blurted out before being shushed by the others. No, we both asked each other to get married. Gappy swooned.
How romantic.
Wendell sighed and looked out the small triangular backseat window. That should be his story, but it was stolen from him. And not just from him, but from Gale. How disappointed she must be that he didn't hear her yes, and how worried and lonely she must be now.
Wendell,
Gappy said again.
I'm sorry, what?
you're getting married, right? How did you propose?
With this, Wendell snapped out of it and said,
Oh, same as Kermit, believe it or not. Warm evening, walking in the park.
Kermit shot him a look back. Uh-huh.
No, really. We were at the park bench when we had our...
Gappy shot in.
Never mind. I was asking a serious question, but if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. No need to make up stories copying Kermit. That's kind of rude, you know.
Wendell gave up and looked back out the triangular window. They had left downtown and were in the outskirts of the city. Houses and buildings became sparse, and then everything was, well, dirt. Lots of dirt. He wondered if there was farmland or agriculture as well, or did just the mines keep the city going? Keeping something going. He thought about how Gale and her love kept him going. As difficult as this may be, what stories they would have to tell their children and grandchildren. Wendell smiled as the AMC gremlin tooled along. They arrived at the Waxmine tour facility and paid for parking. Then they paid for the shuttle to take them to the attractions, then paid to get in, then paid to access the bathroom stalls, and everywhere crude posters for the Tunnel of Mining Fun Ride main attraction were posted. The Waxmine Museum of Mining was more the Waxmine rundown travel stop. The second you walked in, you were hit with fragrances so strong it was like an oven blast. Duct tape patched spider-webbing cracks on filthy, dust-covered windows. The vinyl flooring was sticky and yellow, and instead of displays, the museum held aisles and aisles of trinkets and candles for sale. But Gappy was in heaven.
I have so much shopping to do for back home. Oh, they have candles here that you can't buy in the city, and I'm going to load up. I can't wait to send care packages.
She said this out loud, but to nobody in particular, as she grabbed a shopping cart.
You're welcome to shop to your heart's delight, little miss. But most people do the tour first, so they don't have to carry as much. Just saying,
said a short, bearded glob of goo in overalls behind the cash register.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you. Yes.
They got in line to buy their ride tickets. No, there was no line. This place was a tomb. Only, I think tombs get dusted more often. They climbed into a rickety mining cart that had been fit with seats. Wendell noticed the lack of safety restraints and was about to ask when the cart zoomed its way down the track, without so much as a warning to keep hands in at all times. The cart axles squeaked as it picked up speed, and Wendell began to wonder what the point of the ride was. They weren't seeing much in the poorly lit, almost pitch-black tunnels. Suddenly, everyone jolted forward and Scent nearly flew out, had Kermit not grabbed him in time as the cart came to an abrupt halt.
Please enter 2 coins to continue this ride.
Well, Wendell now knew the point of the ride. They dropped the coins into the slots, and the car took off again, whizzing around a bend and almost tipping over. Kermit shouted, "Whoa!" enjoying himself. Scent grabbed onto Kermit, and poor Gappy, sitting next to Wendell, Well, she began to turn not green, but with her dark blue skin, her face flushed to an unhealthy cyan. They were in a dark, damp part of the tunnel when the cart again stopped.
Please enter 2 coins to continue this ride.
They dropped in 2 more coins.
Please enter 2 coins to continue this ride.
Hey, we just paid,
Scent told the machine.
Please enter 2 coins to continue this ride.
They tried dropping in 2 more coins.
Please enter 2 coins to continue this, 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 continue this.
Then the coin slot sparked and sputtered out. Well, shit. What do we do now? Kermit asked, looking around.
Maybe stay in the cart? I'm sure they have safety protocols in place.
Wendell said to 2.5 sets of raised eyebrows. Kermit said, Nope. We have to walk back. Sooner we start, the better. Scent piped in.
Excuse me, why are you in charge? I should be the leader, and I don't want my shoes getting muddy. I say we wait for the help.
The help?
Gappy said.
It's probably safer in the cart,
Wendell said. Safer than what, exactly? And Scent, why would you be in charge? Wendell thought for a minute, then shrugged his shoulders. Gappy, turning back from cyan to her natural blue, asked Scent,
Yes, Scent, why should you be the leader?
Because I won.
What do you mean, won?
I had the highest intake exam score of all of us. That makes me the natural leader,
Scent said and stood on his seat. Of note, Scent, standing on a rickety seat next to a seated Kermit, did not even come up to Kermit's shoulders. Gappy chimed in.
Kermit was in the military. He has more experience than any of us with
Scent crossed his arms and waited.
Muddy terrain.
Kermit said, thank you? He looked around. If this was a mine, there's bound to be some sort of underground communications. We're not getting anywhere sitting in this cart. I suggest we start walking back to the entrance and call for help if we see an underground phone. He climbed out of the cart, and Gappy and Wendell followed. Scent, indignant, began hopping on his seat.
I will not mess up my new shoes. They cost more than we make in a month.
Well, so don't buy overpriced shoes,
Gappy shot back.
What do you know about being responsible with money, Gappy? I was the one that had to fix your chalk fiasco.
Scent struck back while stomping on his feet. Gappy turned back, her blue face turning an ominous purple.
What are you talking about?
The chalkboard we put up for the kids to draw on. You made it free, idiot. I was the one that had to add wires to the chalk pieces to zap anyone trying to use them without paying. Dr. Mentor was well pleased with me. Again, I won.
Scent continued hopping angrily on the cart, which started making creaking sounds. Gappy's eye, the larger one, became even larger.
What? You are electrocuting That's horrible.
No, that's medicine. Besides, it's just enough to be painful. It doesn't damage tissue, mostly.
Gappy marched towards Scent while taking off her dangly earrings and rolling up her sleeves.
You wretched little...
Kermit quickly slid between the two. Wendell pulled Gappy back as she unleashed a torrent of vile, and impressive swear words. Kermit had enough and reached out to pick up the little stomping meerkat when the rusted and worn axle snapped under Scent's tantrum. The cart tipped sideways, spilling Scent out onto the muddy ground. Silence.
Did you win that too?
Gappy asked, then stormed off the way they came. Kermit tried to give Scent a hand up, but Scent turned away. There, lying in the mud and filth, Scent was a small schoolboy again, standing in front of his disappointed father, his school uniform reeking of filth. His father looked down on his pathetic son.
Oh, and you let the other boy push you into that?
No, Father, I was fighting back, but he is bigger and stronger than me.
His father glared down. Even for a meerkat folk, Scent Sr. was large and imposing.
He is bigger and stronger than you because you let him be bigger and stronger than you. You let him win. What does that make you?
Scent tried to look down, but his father grabbed his muzzle.
Look at me, boy. What does that make you?
A loser, Father.
And you always will be.
But, Father...
Get out of my face. You can come back when you're a winner. A real winner.
When Scent finally opened his eyes, the others were walking away. He rubbed off his tears and chased after them, again with filth on his clothes, again ashamed. The group walked and walked, but no emergency phone was found. Scent struggled to keep up with his small legs, and after a while he fell down again. Kermit walked back to him. Need a lift?
Go away.
No, you're slowing us down.
Then leave me, jerk.
Grow up,
Kermit said, and hoisted Scent up and carried him along across his arms. At first, Scent protested, but he was exhausted. Too exhausted. Winning or having to win all the time was exhausting. Scent finally relaxed a little, and his face fell against the crook of Kermit's arm. It was warm and reminded him of something, well, or at least of someone. Hazel, the housekeeper growing up. If Scent won second place in a contest, his parents said that was still a loss and told Hazel to throw the medal away. If Scent won first place in a contest, but it was a close win, his parents told Hazel to throw away the medal. Scent had never won first place well enough for his parents. But Hazel, although being told to get rid of the medals, kept them in a shoebox. It was their secret. And when Scent had any competition, regardless of the outcome, she made him cookies with smiley face icing. But most of all, she gave Scent something his parents didn't. Hugs. Now Hazel was old and wrinkly and smelled musty, but when her big arms wrapped around him, he felt loved. Scent rested his face into Kermit's arms, remembering Hazel's hugs. Finally, the silent and tired group made it back to the ride entrance. The blob owner yelled, "Where the fuck have you been? Where's my cart?" The group told him what happened, about the coin slot not working and then the axle broke. They conveniently left out the part of Scent hopping on the seat.
You destroyed my property. You have to pay for that cart and for the glob blubbered.
The group protested, but the owner was having nothing of it.
"You're vandals, all of you. Pay now or I'm calling the police."
His blobbish tendril arms reached for the phone on the counter. Scent had enough, hopped up on the counter, picked up the phone receiver, and tried handing it to the owner.
Do it! Call them now!
The owner, uncertain, stepped back.
"I will."
Scent nudged the receiver towards him.
Here!
The owner put his hands down. Scent wriggled the receiver and said,
"And while the authorities are here, they can take a look for your certificate of recent safety inspection. Isn't that required to be posted and public-facing? Because I haven't seen one, and it seems the required patron restraints on the cart are missing."
The blob owner started sweating. Goose sweat. It's not pretty.
And twice, I saw my friends here almost get their heads knocked from too small a clearance envelope. Isn't that against regulations? I will be very interested to know what the authorities say about that. And also...
Wait, now, there's no need to...
No, here, I'll dial them for you.
The owner quickly grabbed the receiver and hung up the phone, pulling it away from the insane meerkat in a muddy business suit.
"Look, I think we can work something out."
No, I'm too angry,
said Scent and crossed his little arms. Wendell, Gappy, and Kermit stared.
"Oh, surely there's some agreement we can come to after all. Put this behind us."
The blob gave an oily smile. Scent waited, then eventually sighed.
I may have some ideas.
Later, the AMC gremlin was packed full of candles and trinkets for Gappy to send to her family. Kermit had found his husband's favorite snacks and loaded up, and Wendell found something he thought he would never see, but knew just the person he wanted to give it to, if he ever got a chance. He held the container carefully in his lap. And the cost for all these goodies? Nothing. But maybe the agreement they would never, ever return. Wendell finally had to ask,
How did you know about all the ride regulations?
Scent looked in the rearview mirror while donning his aviator sunglasses and driving gloves.
I didn't, but he clearly didn't either. And nobody, well, except me, threatens my friends.
With that, he pulled the AMC gremlin out of the parking lot and drove his 3 friends back home. A discount story time, discount idea. I used to be vegetarian, but after becoming a werewolf, I now have to say mostly vegetarian. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have questions, comments, thoughts for me, please reach out. My contact information is in the show notes. And if you are enjoying this show, consider sending it to a friend or telling a friend about it to help spread the word. Thanks again, and until next week, be sure to play nice with others, be super duper kind to yourself, and as always, remember to laugh. Bye.